Welcome to Sci-Fi Tales Adventure Rocket. 4 thrilling sci-fi stories and cosmic adventures. Subscribe now. Well, after buying a mute alien from a trader, he did the impossible. She spoke. The market smelled of iron and sweat. Chains rattled as merchants paraded their goods. Strange creatures from across the stars, some half dead, some too broken to fight anymore. It was a place Cale hated, yet here he was, coins in hand, because sometimes saving one life meant walking into the heart of cruelty. That's when he saw her. A young alien woman stood at the far end of the trader's pen, her wrists bound, her skin pale with exhaustion. Her large, silver eyes followed the ground, never looking at anyone. A smooth, ridged pattern ran down her neck to her collarbones, faintly glowing in the dim light. She was beautiful, but there was something else, something tragic. "She's mute," the trader spat, yanking her chain forward. "Worthless in most jobs. Won't speak a word. But she's strong. You won't find one like her again." Mute. Cale's heart tightened. He didn't know why, but he placed the coins down before he even realized what he was doing. "I'll take her," he said. The silent companion. She followed him silently, always a few steps behind. Cale tried to speak to her, offering food, water, a blanket, but she only nodded or shook her head, never meeting his eyes. At night, she slept curled by the fire, staring into the flames. When he asked her name, she pressed her hand to her throat and looked away. Days passed. He almost grew used to the silence. Yet it gnawed at him, the idea that she wanted to speak but couldn't, trapped within herself. One night, as rain pattered softly against their tent, he finally said, "You don't have to be afraid of me. I didn't buy you to own you. I bought you to free you." Her eyes widened at that. For a moment, he thought she might say something. But she only lowered her gaze again. Signs in the dark. Cale began to notice small things. When he hummed old soldier songs while sharpening his blade, her head tilted slightly, as if listening. When he stumbled over a rock and cursed, her shoulders shook as though she was holding back laughter. She was not hollow inside. She was alive, burning quietly, like a candle shielded from the wind. And sometimes, in her sleep, she whispered sounds. Broken syllables. Fragments of words. It haunted him. The night of fire. They were ambushed on the 7th night. Raiders swept from the trees, blades flashing, eyes burning with hunger. Cale fought fiercely, but he was outnumbered. One struck him across the chest, and he fell hard, blood soaking his shirt. The alien woman stood frozen, chains still clinking faintly at her wrists. She trembled, her eyes locked on him as another raider raised his sword to finish him. Something inside her broke. She screamed. It wasn't just a sound. It was a word. Clear, sharp, ringing through the night. "No!" The raiders stumbled, startled. Cale gasped, staring up at her. She clutched her throat, as if disbelieving the sound herself. Tears ran down her cheeks, but her gaze was fire. She picked up a fallen blade. And for the first time, her voice rang out again. "Stay away from him. The impossible." The raiders fled, unnerved by her sudden fury. Cale struggled to his feet, clutching his bleeding side. He stared at her in shock. You spoke," he whispered. Her hands trembled. She looked at him, lips parting, and for a long moment, no sound came. Then, faintly, brokenly, "Why, yes." Her voice cracked like shattered glass. But it was real. Cale's eyes stung. He wanted to laugh, to weep, to hold her. Instead, he only whispered, "You did the impossible." She shook her head, tears falling freely. You saved me. I wanted to save you." Every word seemed to hurt, as though she was dragging them from years of silence. But she forced them out. "You gave me hope." The story beneath. As Cale bound his wound, she sat beside him, still crying softly. The words came slowly, painfully, but she forced them out. Her name was Eris. The traders had stolen her from her people, but long before that, her voice had been taken. They had told her she was cursed, unworthy, unwanted. When she tried to speak as a child, they silenced her with pain until she believed she had no voice at all. But in that moment, when she thought Kale would die, she found it again. "You believed in me," she whispered. "So I believed." A new beginning. From then on, her voice returned little by little. Some nights she could only manage 1 or 2 words. Other times, she surprised herself, whispering fragments of stories from her past, or laughing softly when Kale teased her. It was never easy. Every word was a battle. But Kale never rushed her, never demanded more than she could give. And slowly, the silence between them was no longer empty. It was filled with possibility. Epilogue. Months later, as dawn broke over the mountains, Eris stood beside Kale on a high ridge. The wind carried the scent of wildflowers, and for once she was unchained. She looked at him, her silver eyes bright, her lips trembling as she whispered, "Thank you for hearing me before I spoke." Kale smiled, his chest tight with something more powerful than victory. And when she slipped her hand into his, he knew that sometimes the greatest miracle was not in breaking chains, but in helping someone find their voice again.